Welcome back. This will be episode 77 of Adventures in Adversity. I am so grateful to be here again with another wonderful person, and I know we are going to learn a ton from her story today. If you're new to this podcast, before I introduce my guest, this podcast, Adventures in Adversity, is been going about 2 years now, and really what it's all about at the end of the day is I am grateful to bring on real people who tell their true stories about overcoming how they have overcame adversity in their life, and really just trying our best to turn those things into an adventure, to heal, to cope, and I think most importantly, to build community. Because as my guest for the episode that's going live today said, community is not necessarily your zip code and where you live. It can be a community through a podcast, through this. So anyway, if you're new, you got the spiel. If you've already been here, you already knew that. So with that, I just wanted to introduce and thank you, Amber, for joining today.
Hi, thank you for having me. I feel really grateful for having this opportunity to tell some of my story. And um, I think there's healing in telling your story. I think there's healing for, of course, first yourself, but for others. And I think that my story can have a big impact to help others through their own struggles and just life. Life is hard.
Yeah.
Life is hard.
Yeah.
So, um, So yeah, here I am and I'm ready to tell my story.
I'm so grateful, and everybody has a story, and then when I'm lucky enough to get somebody to sit down with me and, like, actually take the time out of their schedule to say, "Hey, I wanna share something with." I just don't take it for granted at all, ever, and so, I just wanted to officially welcome you to what I love to call the Adventures in Adversity family of guests that we are. I think we're at like, you will be my 53rd guest.
Wow.
So you are not alone in your adversity, but you are certainly courageous. And I'm just honored that you chose this podcast to share your story.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so we got connected via Instagram, via some content that brought us together, right?
Right. I believe I was just scrolling through reels and
Yeah.
came across your podcast and I decided, let me message this lady and see if she responds. I don't know. And you did, and here we are.
And that's literally the beauty of it, right? Like, I everyone has a story, and I'm so glad that, when I'm creating this stuff, I'm like, "I hope this resonates with someone." When it does,
Mm.
I just now you get, like, chills. You're like, "One
Right.
person, cool." Like, that's
Yes.
enough. That's all. Like, I enjoy creating it, and it's healing for me. Like, each thing is literally very cathartic. However, when someone actually is like, "That," I'm like, "Okay, connection is like a real thing." It
Mm-hmm.
really brings people together. So, wanted to thank you for that, and I am just gonna stop talking now, and really the best part of the show is when I stop talking and people just tell their stories. So,
Okay.
Amber, you can start wherever you'd like, maybe, like, just whatever point in your life feels good to start telling your story. We are all ears.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'll start by saying for a very long time, I built my identity around being a mom, just mom. I was just mom. And I became a mom at 16. So I had my son very young.
Yeah.
Um, and my son actually, he turned 31 last August, but in November he passed away. So
Sorry.
sorry,
So
this is hard. So
please
I'm
take your time.
gonna be there.
Take your time, and I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Um, my son struggled with addiction since high school, and he had a really hard life, a really hard life, and a lot of his struggles were how he grew up, and the things that you know he went through. And so I'll back it up a little bit. I grew up with two parents in the home. My parents were and still are married, but very dysfunctional, very toxic. Still today, to this day, I have to protect myself when I'm around my parents, or limit that time rather. I'm ready. I'm there to repair things, but they're not there, and I don't know that they'll ever get there. But I've done my part, and I still have to work through some things. So I just have to protect myself in
Yep.
that sense. So I grew up, like I said, mom and dad in the house. My dad, alcoholic, he still drinks to this day. My mom has struggled with mental health issues since I can remember. She's been mostly I remember her as being depressed when I was little, laying on the couch.
Yeah.
She was very now that I am older and I think about things, I can see that there were some things in herself that there was like maybe a jealousy or I'm kind of learning that maybe there's some narcissistic traits with her too. And because I have been through two narcissistic marriages, really bad marriages. And so then I'm putting the pieces together. I'm like, wait a minute, maybe my mom was there too. She was part of that. So anyhow, so I had my son at 16.
Mm.
I ended up marrying his dad.
Mhm.
He went in the military. So he was getting stationed in Hawaii. So in order for us to be together, we had to get married.
Uh-huh.
So my parents signed off on it. I was 17
Okay.
and lived in Hawaii for a little while with my son. And that was terrible.
Really.
He ended up getting, I believe, dishonorably discharged for just the things that we went through during that time. And so I came back to California, where I'm still in California. Came back to California, lived with my parents for a little bit, but then I got, determined to do it on my own. I was 17. I moved out. I had my own place. Credit card, gas cards. I was doing well. I was paying my bills. I was going
Wow.
to school, had a baby. And then I met my second husband. And I met him on the sidewalk, walking out of my house. A friend and I were going to see if someone could purchase alcohol for us. And
Mhm.
we were underage, of course. And he comes walking across the street. Long story short, we started talking and we were together for 20 years.
Okay.
So, yeah, a long
Hey,
time.
you meet people everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. But it wasn't off to a good start
It was not off
considering,
to a good start.
yeah,
Yes.
he was buying alcohol for us at underage.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, anyhow, we stayed together. And then at 19, I had a daughter.
Okay.
Um, so, my second child at 19. And um, as our relationship with her dad,
Uh-huh.
it was horrible. It was just awful. Drinking, alcohol, drugs.
Mhm.
He was abusive, mentally, emotionally, financially. It was awful. There was, cheating and just all the things. Anything you can
Mhm.
imagine,
It
it
happened.
happened.
Yeah.
And I'm not perfect. I
Nobody
have my
is,
own
right?
struggles and I
Sure.
did and I still do. And, I'm trying
We
to do
all
the best
do.
I can. So I drank and I drank pretty much our entire marriage, except for the times that I was pregnant.
Mhm. Mhm.
And after my daughter at 19, I ended up having two more kids with
Mhm.
the same man.
Okay.
And so I had four kids by the time I was 24.
Wow. Yeah.
So it was
Yeah.
it was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was wild. Just being so young and
So
inexperienced
young.
and just a young mom, and I was in survival the whole
And you
time,
were
just
you
going.
hadn't even you because of your you hadn't even dealt with your own yeah, it's
Exactly.
a lot to
Yeah.
go through at a young
Yep.
age.
So I just, I buried my everything with alcohol,
Yep.
and but I loved my family, and I tried to keep us together and come on, we can fix this. We can fix this. It'll
Yeah.
get better. We went to
That's
church. We
good
did.
attitude to have. It's a
Yeah.
good
I mean, I
attitude to
tried. I
okay,
mean,
so you
my
tried,
family was everything. Yeah.
but
So,
the abuse, you can't fix the abuse,
right. Right. That only that other person they need to want to.
and
So,
they need to stop abusing
yeah.
you.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And like I said, we both, we went to church here and there and we were in certain recovery groups at church.
Yep.
Um and I mean it was not meant to be.
Yeah.
It was just so toxic, so
Too
awful.
toxic. Yeah, you can't
Yes.
just not your souls were not meant to be together.
No, absolutely not. So back up a little bit
Mhm.
to when I had first met my three children, their father. When I
Yep.
had met him, like I said, I had a son
Yeah.
already. my mom had there was a point when he was about, not quite 2 years old. So he was talking, but, 2-year-old, they babble and
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
here
yeah.
and there. So my mom came to me and told me she thought that there was some abuse going on with my children's father, the other children. And, I'm 17 years old. This isn't making excuses or anything like that. It
No,
was
but
just,
you
it
just
is what it is.
y
Yeah.
yeah.
And so and at the time, even though I was young and inexperienced and whatnot, I knew my mom was not stable, you know? So she had told me that, or she came at me kind of crazy and, I think, um, so and so is abusing my son and this and that. And I called the police. I did what I thought I was supposed to do.
That seems like a
There,
reaction that's normal to me.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There was nothing that was told that, there was no evidence. There was nothing. So he and I had gotten back together and then we had 3 kids together. So, I carried that for a long time till today.
And it's okay.
Just thinking, "Oh gosh, what if?" But then I'm thinking my mom is, she's crazy and, all the things.
Totally,
And, um,
totally.
yeah, so I kind of put it back there, but,
Yeah.
I kinda it was there, so I kept my eyes open, if that makes sense.
I will say you called the police, and I think that was the
Mhm,
right thing to do, and that is
mhm,
you
yeah,
know what I'm saying? Like, I know looking back, but that seems like a very that's what I would do as a mother, and then
mhm,
there's a certain point, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like, just
yeah.
acknowledge that that was the right step.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And then so we had kids together and we had beautiful family.
Yeah.
Everywhere where we would go, we would go out to dinner and the waitress would, "Oh, you guys have such a beautiful family," and all the things. And my kids were in sports. My kids, we did like 8 sports at a time, and with
T
all my
the
kids. And
typical life, right?
exactly,
That's what
football,
looks like.
cheerleading, softball, baseball, all the things.
Uh-huh. Yep.
And it was go, go, go,
Uh-huh.
constant. I mean, there's no time to breathe. During this time, I'm trying to push everything down. I'm drinking.
Yeah.
I got the kids all their sports and everything's, we're back home. They've had dinner. They're in bed.
And
Time to
then
drink.
you
Yeah.
totally Mhm.
Yeah. So I actually, this New Year's, I have 5 years sober.
That's
So
amazing.
yeah. So
Congratulations.
thank you. Yeah. 5 years is
That's
every
like
year is a big deal, but
every day is a big deal, but 5
yeah.
years is like that's a solid commitment, and that's
Yes.
amazing.
Yes. And I completely I believe that God took that desire from me
I
completely away.
I
I have
You have
absolutely
no
0
desire.
desire,
It's funny,
nothing.
I just got full body chills when you said that because another one of my guests said the similar thing where the desire is gone,
Yes.
and he's, like, telling people you can get there, and I'm like, "Oh, wow."
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. And,
good for you.
I've everybody's different,
Yeah.
but I have friends, I know people, throughout my life that really struggle with it still after a year or 5 years, or
Yeah.
they started drinking after 10 years. I just thank God I have 0 desire, nothing.
You're
So,
grateful that it's yes, you've fought
yeah,
that battle and you've
yeah,
slayed that, and God helped you slay that, like, y
yeah,
that's beautiful, well,
yeah,
congratulations, I'll keep saying
yeah.
that, that's
Thank
amazing.
you. Yeah. So anyhow, excuse me, but we had, it was a my life with my family, with my kids and my ex. Um, Everything, was the perfect white picket fence family. I
Looks
had
like it.
people come up to me. I have a friend. She was actually one of the girls' cheerleading coaches, and so she was a little older than them, but
Yeah,
younger than me, of course. And we're like family now, but she would always say, "I want a family just like yours," and I'm like, "No, you don't. No, you don't. You have no idea what's going on behind closed doors, and you really don't. Those families that look perfect, sadly, a lot of them are not."
mhm,
So
that is very true.
anyhow, yeah, so uh, 2015 is when things really blew up with
Okay.
he and I. And it was actually my birthday. and yeah, my son had a football tournament in Las Vegas, and my his dad had driven him down there to go to the tournament, and I was going to meet them, fly out the next day because I had to. I think
Yeah.
I was working. So I get a phone call from my son, and he says, "Mom, I need to go to practice, but Dad's passed out naked on the bed at the hotel." And I said, okay, because I wasn't there yet. And so I called up one of the other coaches. I said, "Can you pick him up, please? Can you take him to practice?" "Yeah, no problem."
Yeah.
And after all the, the cheating and all the things, it was like, "Oh, here we go again." And so it was my birthday. I go down there. I was still drinking. But I checked into the hotel. I got a different hotel room and was like, "Well, it's my birthday and I'm in Las Vegas." So I just went down to the hotel bar and sat there thinking that my husband was going to come join me. He
At some
didn't.
point, yeah.
Yeah. So come to find out, he was upstairs partying with all the parents and the people that I assumed he was cheating with and all the things. He never came down. So sadly, I was humiliated, absolutely humiliated, because there's all these parents upstairs in the room, and
Oh,
they kind of know that we're a mess.
but it's like it's some you're like, now it's really that one, and
Yeah,
now it's yeah.
yeah. Well, we had I had kicked him out before, and it didn't stick, but this time it stuck.
Mhm.
And so I had to tell my son. He was, I believe, 12 or 13 at the time. I told him, I said, "I'm sorry, but I'm not going to make it to your football tournament." And I flew back home the next morning. So
You just have to get out.
that's what happened.
You have to get yeah, that's just yeah.
Yeah. So I came home, packed
Mhm.
his personal things, put them by the door. Um, and he left and stayed in a trailer for a little while, and it stuck. And so we divorced and did not
Really?
get back together. It was a very ugly divorce. Very, I myself, everything came crashing down, and I was still drinking. I didn't want to drink anymore. I was working on sobriety.
But the pain is so but you were probably still you couldn't cope at the time. Like, that's
Right.
part yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so on top of that, I have, um, I have these 4 kids at home still. They're all teenagers, and I'm struggling myself with just
Just
trying to stay
functioning.
alo
Yeah,
above my head above water,
every
you
day.
know?
Yeah, every
Yeah,
day. Yeah.
yeah, so and when I was a stay-at-home mom for years,
Mhm,
and so I'd gone back to work when my youngest he was in 1st grade.
mhm.
So I went back to work full time, and, the job that I had at the time, I was making $14.25 an hour, and he took off, and he really just acted like we never existed. He
The whole just
abandoned the kids, and, I mean, it was awful. It was awful
oh,
just watching how things went down and how he treated, understandably, me and him, but
but
his
the
kids,
kids.
he really abandoned his kids at that time. And he began building a family with someone else and her kids and all that stuff, and it was just the things he posted on social media, about his new family, and it was just awful. And, I wasn't because I wasn't healed yet. I
Mhm.
wasn't there to really support my kids. And so I did some things that were stupid, things that were I look back now and like, "Oh my god,
You
just awful."
when you had been abused, it's a very tough climb.
Mhm.
You were abused and then abandoned and then having to just
Yeah.
that's extremely probably one of the hardest things in the world to do.
Yeah, losing, divorce is awful. It's awful. I
It's
mean, for anybody that's ever been through it, and, when you have a whole family and
it's
kids in it and teenagers at that, it's awful. It's the
yeah,
worst thing ever, you know? Um, so, so I was really, proud of myself that I went from, making, I was an entry level employee,
yeah,
and I worked my way up from an instructor working with people with disabilities.
amazing.
And so I worked my way up and became program manager at the day program where I work.
That's fantastic.
So all while going through a divorce, and I don't know how I did that. I have no idea. I look back now like, wow.
That
So
was
I'm
maybe
really really
something
proud of my
yeah,
accomplishments, and
you
yeah.
should be, and the fact that I have a special place in my heart for anyone, with a disability or anything. I'm just it's like
Mhm.
such a beautiful community of people and, like, people who help them. It's just like that must have been extremely challenging, but it must have been
Mhm.
sort of a reminder of, like, the goodness in people when
Yeah,
you're going through all
absolutely.
that, right?
And I'll tell you what, I mean, it's really cool when you look back how, in the moment, it's like, "Why? Why, God, why?" And then you look back and you're like, "Oh, okay, that's why."
Makes sense.
And I walked right into this day program working with people with disabilities. It taught me so much patience, so much just I just absolutely love doing what I do. I really do.
Yes.
It's just very
Yes.
rewarding. So I was placed there for a
Okay.
reason. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I like I said, I worked myself up my way up to program manager.
Yep. Amidst the chaos of your life, still,
Yes.
you just
Yeah.
yep.
Mhm. Yep. Yeah. Um, and like I said, I did some things that I'm not proud of while going through the divorce. Looking back over the years, times I had drank. There was a time, and this is one of my biggest embarrassments, I guess. I don't know what you call it, but
We all have them. We all have them.
yeah, it was my daughter's 13th birthday. She was having a sleepover at the house, and I started drinking. Ex was drinking. Some of the parents were over of the kids,
Yeah.
and all the parents went home, had a sleepover. Well, he and I got into an argument about him driving while drinking. Um, and I ended up punching him in the face. And it was it was really kind of silly how it all went down. I went in the house and I called the police on myself, basically. It was just I was a mess. I called the police and said, um, I was more angry about him drinking and driving, and because there was years of him drinking and driving. Um, when my daughter was I was probably 19 or 20.
Mhm.
Um, he was in a car accident, and the girl died while he was drinking and driving, and she was in the car with him, and he was with another girl, so it was like,
That's a huge yeah, yeah.
yeah. So I had that, and he
Of
was in jail
course.
for a while, and he was, all the things, and I was dealing with 2 kids at the time, and then he got out of jail in our program, and we tried to work things out, whatever. But that was one of the hardest things with,
Yeah.
the day on my daughter's 13th birthday. So I called the police, and he the police came. They come in. They said, "Are there any firearms? This and that." And I said, "Yeah, he has firearms upstairs." They pull me out to the front lawn. And
Mhm.
mind you, my daughter and her friends are upstairs in her bedroom having a sleepover. And so I go out front to talk to the police. And next thing I know, my hands are going behind my back. And I'm like, "What are you doing?" In my mind, I'm uh, intoxicated, but in
Yeah.
my mind, I'm thinking, what are you doing? Like, this is the guy
Yeah.
that keeps drinking and driving over and over and over and over again. Well, the alcohol didn't put that together quite right for me. So I went to jail. He went with me. He just went to sober up. And then uh, I was charged, or I was booked. And then he ended up bailing me out. So, and dropping charges. Thank goodness, because that would have been a felony. So that was one of my lowest
Good that
moments.
you didn't get good that he didn't get in the car.
Yeah.
You didn't
Yeah.
get in the car
Yeah.
and you prevented that. I just wanna
Yeah.
note that. But I understand that how it turned out was not your intention and, like, that it's thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that. I don't take it lightly that, you know, it's very difficult to share your most vulnerable days that you regret,
Mhm.
but I appreciate it, and I know that people listening and I myself immediately have a day or 2 like that come to mind in my own life,
Mhm.
that I wish I
Yeah.
could just do that whole one over.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. And I think a lot of well, of course, there was damage between my daughter and I.
Yeah,
That was one of the times that I screwed up and
it's
that I'm
when
trying to fix now.
yep, yep,
So anyhow, like I said, that was one of the lowest moments of my life. And he dropped the charges. I had a restraining order for 2 weeks. I had to live with a friend for 2 weeks, couldn't see my kids. It was awful. So anyhow, I come back home and we got back to life as usual. um and So fast forward, back to our divorce.
Mhm.
And I'm struggling. He's not paying child support. He might pay some here and there, and
But
then
nothing, it's all
it's
on
just
it's
yes, right, yeah. So during this time, my oldest son, he's struggling with addiction. So I have that on top of it, and I'm trying to save my son. I'm trying to help him get into programs, rehab programs, doing what I can to help to try to save my son too. Um, and he was on the streets, and as time went on he was on the streets more and more. First he would stay with a friend, and he's staying with this person for a little while.
sure.
Yeah. So then we got to the point where he was homeless in San Francisco, in the Tenderloin district, and for anybody that knows what that is, it is one of the most awful places on earth.
I lived in the city for 10 years. I know the Tenderloin.
Not quite, that whole time.
Yeah.
He was down there for about 3 years, but he would bounce back and forth a little bit, but,
Yeah,
he was homeless in San Francisco for about 2.5 years. But this whole time, since he was about 15 years old until he passed away last year, um, it was it was awful. He was in and out of the hospital. He went from, mostly started with pills in high school,
mhm.
and then he progressed to heroin, and then the famous fentanyl. That's what took him. I watched it destroy his body. There are, pictures that I have of him that are just no mother should ever have to see. Nobody should ever have to see, but I watched his body deteriorate, especially over that time, that since he was in high school, but the last about 4 years from now, 4 years back, just his body, he lost weight, obviously. The bruises and the breaks, he ended up knocking his 2 front teeth out, and he had a gorgeous smile, so handsome. Just it was just seeing those things and going to the hospital, and it's awful. It was awful. It was awful.
Mhm.
Um, but, so this whole time, this last, 10 years or so, I've been trying to work on myself, and I've been in counseling. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Celebrate Recovery through
Mm.
churches.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
I've gone through that.
Yeah.
I did the 9-month program. So I'm here, I'm sober now, and that's great and all that. Well, it was 2019, and I had, my kid's dad, we were divorced, and I was dating again.
Yeah.
And so I met a man online, like a dating app,
Yeah.
and we connected right away. And, he was this man of God, and he went to church, and he read his Bible, and he was just everything that I wanted. I was like, okay,
You're like,
all
"Here
right,
it is." Yeah.
here it is. I've got,
Finally.
someone that, yeah, yeah. He asked me to marry him. We got married in 2020.
Mhm.
And so here I am on my third marriage.
It's okay.
Third and final, trust me.
Hey, that's okay. That's okay.
So uh as time went on, I mean, everything was great. My kids loved him.
That's
My
great.
youngest daughter, her dad had taken off, and she's like, "Oh, I have a new dad," kind of a thing. She was teenager, and almost 18 and everything, but
Yeah.
there was someone there
Nice.
for
Yeah.
her.
For
Yeah.
sure.
So we got married, and probably about a year after our marriage, we got married. Um, I started noticing some things. Like, I mean, he's not himself, and he's like a completely different person. Things are changing, and he starts
Okay.
doing things, and I called him out on it. I said, "You know what? That's abusive. That's abusive. And,
Good
I'm not doing
for
this."
you.
And as soon as I called him out and I called him a narcissist,
Oh, yeah, they freak out.
everything blew up. He was evil. He was, I mean, absolute.
I believe
Um,
that. I do believe that they're, like,
yeah, yeah,
demonic.
absolutely,
I
absolutely. I
and
saw the black eyes.
yeah, it's a different look, and I've seen it as well.
Yes, yep.
I'm so sorry.
Um, yeah. So as we're going, this is just crazy. This part of my life, that here I thought I met this man, and we're married. I married him, for crying out
Right.
loud.
Yeah, yeah.
It's my third marriage, and I was like, this is it.
This is
I'm
yeah.
not doing this again. And I really loved this man.
Mhm.
I trusted him with everything I
That's
had. because I came from a 20-year abusive
Yeah.
marriage that,
It
I thought, here we go.
this
I
is I can
everything's gonna be
rest
good.
in this. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, we, something told me to check his phone, and he was struggling with a porn addiction.
Mm,
When we first got together, and I
mhm.
knew this, and now looking back, I'm like, oh, look at that red flag.
Yep. But, you were probably
So,
just like, "Hey," no, like, everyone yeah, no,
well, you
hindsight
know
is
what?
20
Because I
because we've all
have
had shit, right?
Yeah, because
We all
I was trying to quit drinking at the time. And
we all
I'm
have
like, "You know
something we're
what? We
trying to
all have
quit.
struggles."
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
yeah. So I'm like, "Well, we can get on board together and we can do this together."
Yeah.
And here I thought we were. And I had quit drinking,
Yep.
excuse me, not long after we got married,
Yeah.
and thought
Yeah.
he was on the wagon too. And anyhow, in 2000 October of 23, 2023, something told me, something's not right. And he had gotten a new job, and he kept talking about this girl, this woman at work. And I'm like, why does he keep bringing her name up? Right. And something told me to check his phone. Well, sure enough, I found all kinds of stuff on his phone, and it was TikTok videos that had saved, inappropriate videos. The next morning, I called him out on it, and I said, he woke me up, and I said, "You want to tell me about your TikTok girls?" And he just he froze.
Mm.
And I said, "How long has this been going on?" Thinking, maybe he fell off the wagon a couple weeks ago or something. He said a year and a half. And I said, "Oh, okay." And looking back, I don't think he ever stopped looking at pornography.
It was
I
just
really don't. Just the severity of where I'm leading this to.
okay.
Yeah, I don't think he ever stopped.
Yeah. But
So,
you convinced you because he's probably very convincing.
oh yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
mean, why would you believe him if you trusted him and you were on this journey together, you know what I mean?
Right. I absolutely trusted him with everything I had. I
Yeah,
really
yeah,
did,
yeah, yeah.
So that just shattered my world again. I was like, are you kidding me? Um, So I moved all my stuff upstairs to the different bedroom, trying to figure out what the heck I'm gonna do. I'm trying to At this point, I ended up getting a different job because during all this time, the stress of that marriage was just a lot, and I ended up kind of having a nervous breakdown
Oh, yeah.
at my
Oh, yeah.
job.
You have one when you're with a narcissist at some
Yeah.
point, 'cause, you really your body can't function anymore. It happened
No.
to me.
No.
Uh,
Yeah.
that's so I
Yep.
know.
And it was crazy. It's crazy how everything works out. But I'm looking at everything, and I'm starting to get depressed, and I'm laying on the couch, and I'm having all these symptoms, and I'm putting things together. I'm like, hmm, my mom has had all these symptoms for a long time. I'm like,
I was
I'm
just
not gonna end
thinking
up
about
like
your
her.
I just thought about your mom when you saw the couch, like,
Yep.
but you don't want to go down that road. You remember
Right.
were you thinking
Right.
that?
So I started doing all this research on, I had done a lot of research on narcissists with my kid's dad and all that.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm like, this is the second time I'm in this situation. That with a narcissist, and that it's awful. Um, I had to figure things out. I'm
Yeah.
like, I got to figure this out, and I'm not going to do this again, for one. So I got to fix me, or do what I need to do to make sure I don't end up in this situation again.
Yep.
So I, took a deep dive down just all the things narcissist, and trying to heal from it and figure things out. So I had a different job, and I'm trying to save up money, excuse me, trying to save up money for to move out to figure this out. And I couldn't save enough money to move out quickly, And I'm kind of moving things around the house, kind of separating our things. And I find this journal, and I hope, I was like, oh, this isn't mine. So let me separate it. So I kind of opened it, and it opened up to a page where he was confessing that he had molested someone years ago. And I'm like, what is it? Like, I'm just in shock. Like, not only, it just kept going deeper and deeper. And I call my friend, um, and I said, what is this? We're trying to figure it out. Like, what is this? And I wanted to be careful, because at this point it was a little scary living with him, because he's special. He's very special in the sense that he's scary. He's very
Mhm.
scary. Psychological abuse. My kid's dad didn't necessarily do the psychological thing,
Uh,
but this one did.
and
And
that's it.
it was
It
bad. He turned my kids against me.
yeah, they're very
Uh-huh.
skilled psychologically master
Yep.
manipulators.
Yep. He had a horrible childhood, and
Yep,
it makes sense.
yep.
I know all these things now, but
You don't know it when you're going through you don't even know what a like, even if you do,
Yeah,
you're like, "No," like, y yeah, the depth of it is
yeah,
beyond comprehension until you're out
yeah,
of it.
yeah. And, I feel sorry for the little boy for the things that he went through,
Uh,
but I don't feel sorry for the grown man that is continuing to abuse people. At some point, you gotta take accountability and say, "I need to fix myself before I damage someone else,"
exactly,
you know?
exactly.
So and he's in another relationship now, and she has no idea, you know? And it's really sad, but it's not my business anymore. I can't control it, and I'm not
They
going
move
to.
on, and then they create a whole new, like, shared fantasy, and then, like, you're the crazy one. It's like a playbook.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
playbook.
yeah. Yep. So, like I said, he was really close with my daughter, my youngest daughter. At the time, well, she's now 24. So
Mhm.
they got really close. And now looking back, I'm creeped out by it, but that's nothing I can do about it. And he ended up, I ended up confronting him. It took about, I think it was like a week or two of my friend and I
Just
trying to
trying to
figure this
figure out what
out.
the
Like,
hell.
what
Yeah.
is this? Yeah. So I texted him one day. He was at work. I said, "Do you want to tell me the real reason that you were in?" It was a juvenile hall type situation when he was younger. He said, "We'll talk when I get home." I said, "Okay." So he comes in, and we sit down at the kitchen table, and he proceeds to tell me that he molested a 2-year-old when he was a teenager. And my jaw dropped. And he starts, kind of telling the details of it. I said, "Stop." I didn't want that in my head.
You're like, "I don't" oh,
I heard enough. I heard that you did it. That's all I needed to hear. Don't tell me anymore. And so I stopped it right there. And that's what happened. He was a convicted child predator, and I don't think he's healed. I don't think he's moved on. I don't or, not moved on, but he's still in that. He's still in whatever he's in,
he's
and the
not he has
pornography and all that.
there's no, like, quest for redemption in his life,
No.
like, he's not turning to God or anything
Well, he
anytime soon.
pretends to. I mean, and sadly, that's what a lot of narcissists do is they get really good at knowing the Bible. They get really good at
And they use it.
pretending. Yep. And he was that guy. I mean, he knew everybody in church. All the things, all the things. And so I mean, I was just devastated. I was just like, are you kidding me? We're doing this again, you know, meaning myself.
Yeah.
He had as we were splitting up and as we were, going through the things, we're still living together. We had gotten into an argument and he calls me the name of the woman that I suspected him cheating with at work. And to my face, my friend was on the phone and he's doing it purposely and he's calling me her name. And I'm just like, what is going on right now?
Taunting you like a child.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So emotions are crazy sometimes.
I do know that.
And
I do know.
I had, which a lot of people would do. This woman's, I looked this woman up. I found a phone number, which I had for months. I
Yeah.
had the phone number, but he called me her name and
You called.
I blew a gasket. I called her.
Of course.
She didn't answer, but I left a voicemail,
Uh-huh.
a very professional voicemail, give me a call. And it was like, I want to talk to this woman. Are you having an affair with my husband?
Yeah.
Well, she never called back. But about a month later, I get a knock at the door. And he had just moved out. I think like the weekend before. So I get a knock at the door and I look at my ring camera and it's a sheriff. And I said, it's probably him serving me some kind of papers. I had already filed for divorce, but I thought it was some kind of something coming back at me.
Sure.
I opened the front door and he said, Amber? And I said, yes. And he goes, I have a restraining order for you. I said, what? A restraining order for what? This woman put a restraining order on me, which now looking back, the county that granted this restraining order did it. He had no reason to grant that restraining order. By looking at the laws, I broke everything down.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that restraining order should not have been, well, it was set in motion. Of course, we had to go to court, but so and I have firearms myself. And
Yeah.
so my firearms were taken. And he had just moved out,
And
and
you're
I
like,
didn't know what this guy was
this is
capable of.
not
I
the
didn't
time."
know if he was. I didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
You
Well, you
know?
don't. They live a double life.
Yeah, yeah,
They live a double
yep.
life.
So here he knows that my firearms were just taken, and I'm living here by myself. I got my dog, and um, I that was another low points in my life where I was like, "What is going oh my god," you know? And this absolutely the universe, this was God's way of saying, "You didn't fix you didn't heal and fix from your marriage, from your previous marriage with your children's father. I'm gonna give you another relationship like that, and you're gonna get it this time." And I did, and I definitely have done a lot more work
Mhm.
on myself and healing and learning about narcissists and really deep dive, and it's deep, it's evil. Those are the forces of this world that we are really dealing with, you know?
Mhm. Mhm.
Those demons are on earth
Mhm.
walking amongst us.
Mhm.
And unless you have ever been through it, you just don't know. You don't.
It's a club you don't wanna be in as a
Yeah.
narcissistic abuse survivor. Um, when I interviewed Sam Vaknin, he was like, "You wanna don't call yourself a victim, call yourself an abuse survivor."
Mhm.
And it's
Mhm.
something that changes you forever. You
Yeah.
can never look at any I don't know about how you feel, but, like, whenever I meet someone new, like, I used to be extremely open, like, I mean, I'm
Mhm.
open with my guests are, like, my but, like, when I'm meeting someone new, like, in my neighborhood, I'm scanning. Like, I am how is my nervous I mean, I'm like, "Wow, I never used to be like this," but
Yeah.
I guess I'm on high narcissist alert 24/7.
Mhm.
Like, if you're giving me
Mhm.
those red flags, I am like, "Meow, meow,"
Yep.
but never before I would be like, "Oh, oh,
Right.
I can help with that," or I could it's fine."
That's the
No,
part of it is
it's not.
unless you're healed inside yourself, you're going to be attracted to those people.
They will devour you.
You're gonna try to fix
You're
them
right.
and
You're
you
right.
feel bad for them, you know, and gosh, you went through such a horrible childhood and let me fix you and and until you really go through that and then like I said, I repeated the pattern
Yes.
and I went through it again.
Yep.
It was 5 years of absolute, well, not the entire time, but the last couple of years was just
Yes.
absolute awful. We ended up, the woman and I, I went to court to try to get this thing dropped, which
Yeah.
I did. It was dropped.
Yeah.
And come to find out, she's a married woman. And I think she did the restraining order so I wouldn't contact her husband. And I mean, it all makes sense. But
Oh,
yeah. So, um, last, let's see, well, 2024, especially, was a big healing journey for me.
mhm.
I isolated myself on purpose
Yeah.
just because I needed to be obviously not dating anybody, but just alone and find out who I was. Because, like I said, I was a mom for since I was 16 years old, and I mean, I'm still a mom, but
Yeah.
um, that's all I did was raise kids. And then once I have this empty nest thing going on and all my kids are grown up and moved away, I'm like, who the hell am I? What do I like to do? Um, so 2024 was a
That was
big year of he had moved out. Well, actually, he had moved out in July of 24.
mhm.
So the rest of 24 and then 25, just really working on myself and sitting in solitude, thinking and
Good for you.
processing and doing all the things and healing from my childhood and all the things. And like I said, during this whole time, I'm back and forth to San Francisco to the hospitals, going through all this with my son. And then on
Trying
top of that, my husband, is going through doing all this stuff. And it was awful. My nervous system was an absolute
oh,
wreck. There was a couple times I contemplated suicide. I
of course.
it was awful. It was
Yeah.
awful. And
I'm so sorry.
he was so good that there was a couple of friends, that I've been friends for with almost 20 years, and he had her thinking like, "Is Amber okay? Is her mental health okay?" Well, it was him. It was him the whole time. And unfortunately, my kids they don't see that. They see me as crazy because I stand up for myself. I say, "Hell no." I'm not quiet about things. I tell my truth. All the things, and they experience things from a different perspective. So, of course, I don't expect them to see things my way. But I'm estranged from 2 of my kids now.
Mhm.
So it's I mean, we have a little bit of communication, but it's not a good relationship at all.
Mhm.
So that's and it breaks my heart. And I have a brand new granddaughter that, I can't see right now. I mean, they live on the East Coast, but,
Yeah.
it's awful. It sucks.
Well, and it doesn't mean that it's gonna be that way forever,
Mhm.
because I feel that, and again, it is extremely difficult what you're going through, and I know Roseanne in episode 70 said the same thing. She's like, literally, when she fully shared her truth, they had said, "That's not how we experienced it," or even as much as like,
Mhm.
"Mom, that didn't happen." And she's like, "I'm sorry, but it did."
Yeah.
And she doesn't want it to be true, but it's true, and she's like, "I have to be a woman now," and it's part of her
Mhm.
healing journey, and as somebody who I just want you to know, like, as a narcissistic abuse survivor, sharing your truth is like, you have to, and, like, if
Yeah.
people can't accept it, like, the alternative is you slowly die inside. You
That's
know what I mean? And then
so
you
true.
ultimately wanna end your life, like, I was there. I have an episode about it. I'm like, "You just don't understand what this kind of abuse does to you
No.
and why you
Mm.
have to share your story."
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do. I get it.
Yep.
And then in time, as like, they'll come around
Yeah.
and you pray
Yep.
that's
I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah.
It's but, at the same time,
It
I have to move on with my life,
you
and I have to do what I have to do to heal, to
you can't.
tell my story and just get it out there.
Yep,
And I
yep,
just pray that they come back around, you
yeah.
know?
It's when
So
when what I'm learning with God, and you've mentioned God a few times, like, when you're doing your work on yourself, and part of that healing is telling your story and opening up about the ugly truth, which a lot of us
Mhm.
have, and the rest, once you're honest with God and honest with the world, I feel that something shifts where the rest is between them and God. Like, you've done your part by being honest with God, honest with yourself,
Mhm.
and in telling your story, you are telling all of it. You are really like, "Here's where I went wrong. Here's where I wish I could do
Yeah.
this. Here's where I was proud of myself." Because 'Cause we're all human, and I
Mhm.
just, like, commend you for having the courage to say, "This is who I am. This is what I went through. This is how I'm healing."
Yeah.
And I do know that God does work all things for good. I'm seeing
Mhm.
that over and over. Not
Mhm.
It might not be in the short, immediate term, but, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and this is another kinda blow to everything. It just so like I said, my son passed away, the beginning of November 2025 last year, and that kind of brought us together. My kids, because they came to my daughter from the East Coast. She came out here, of course, with her family,
Yeah.
her baby, and her husband, and then so my three kids, like I don't call it bonded, but we saw each other because we hadn't seen each other in a long time. And there was a lot of hurt there, and so I got to see my granddaughter, and she was here and she's hanging out at the house, and it was just that part, being able to see her and hold her. And she's 10 months old now, but she was like 7, 8 months old at the time. And when you have a baby right in front of you, it just takes everything away.
It's the best.
So I'm going through grieving my son, and that was the only thing getting me through. I mean, really, it was just, so I had my granddaughter, and um so we're all working through things. And I mean, not working through it, we weren't talking
You're
about things, but
just
we were
Yeah,
that's what I all I could ask for at that time. And it made my heart so happy that we could be together even
yeah,
under those
yeah.
circumstances. So anyhow, so we had my son's service, and during the service, one of my son's friends comes up to me and he goes, "Can I talk to you?" I said, "Sure." Um, and we go in the back room, and he proceeds to tell me. He said, "We would not be here today if it wasn't for your ex-husband. Your son is dead because of him." And I was like, he wanted to go beat him up right then and there. And because of things that my son had told him. And I said, "Please don't do that here. This is my son's service. We're not doing any of that here." But he was angry. And that was I went about a week and a half just holding on to that. I ended up telling my kids, they're adults and, it's just something that I've been holding on to for
I
years.
I would wanna
Yeah.
know the sibling. Like, I mean
Yeah. So, I mean, this is their dad that we're talking about here, right? During the divorce, I had mentioned some things um, about him possibly abusing my son, that their grandma had said years back. But then that kind of just went to, to the back burner or whatever. But during the service, um, this guy comes up to me and tells me this. And then, a week and a half later, I end up telling my kids
mhm.
and it blew up in my face. I don't know. I mean, but at the same time, the truth has to come out.
What
It
that's what I'm
does.
saying, like, the truth is the truth, like, there's
Yeah.
nothing you can't argue with the truth
Yeah.
is the truth.
Yeah. Yeah. So I had them all 3 on FaceTime and, I tell them what this man told me about their brother. And so, now I'm accused of not protecting my children when they were young. And so now I can't be around my granddaughter. So, and that's absolutely not, they won't really even give me the opportunity to talk and explain things.
Mhm.
So that's really hard. So I'm just like over here with all this information that I feel like I want to tell them. Not that I would tell all the details, but um like, can I have a chance to explain my side of the story? you
Yes.
know?
Yes.
And I think that, this is kind of a way to do that,
Yes. Yes.
but I just it's not fair. You know what I mean? It's just not fair. And I'm not the bad guy here, and I so now, being estranged now again from my kids again and my granddaughter, So it's been hard. It's been really hard. But in looking at things, looking at the big picture and everything, of what I've gone through and just since my son passed. I mean, I've been off work pretty much since he
Mm,
passed
yeah.
and I, had to go on disability because it's just to run a day program and have all these people in your face all day long and I have a high
Y
responsibility job and
you
I
need
couldn't
to
do it.
process you need
Yeah,
to
I couldn't do it.
you y
So I'm on disability still,
yeah.
and I took a cross country road trip. Let's see, I think I left the 13th of December, and part of that was just to drive, just to I have the time off, let me go see the country, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of
Well,
beautiful places to see.
yeah. So, like I said, my daughter lives in, the East Coast,
Mhm.
and I'm trying to kinda repair things, but I don't wanna poke too much, and so I texted her and I had some toys here for the baby. I said, "Hey, I'm doing a cross country road trip. Mind if I drop them off?" Well, she never responded. Then I'm almost there. I'm 4 hours from her house, and she told me I couldn't come to her house. Yeah, I drove all the way there, and I'm just like, it was another shot to the heart, like, okay. I mean, I didn't do that trip just to come and bring her the things. I did it for myself just to go, just to breathe, So I turned around and I started driving back towards California. Um, and I had my maps set to I have a friend that lives in Las Vegas. I was gonna
Yeah,
see her on the way back.
yeah.
And at this point, I'm sad. I'm bummed out. I drove all this way, and I was getting really discouraged.
Mhm.
And thinking I was gonna do a, um, like on Instagram or some kind of social media, like, hey, follow my journey,
Just
and have the camera and just And I ended up
yeah.
each stop. I'm like, okay, I didn't start it this time. Didn't start it, and I think it just wasn't the right time. But so I'm driving back, and my map starts taking me like I guess up more north.
Mhm.
Um, and I start going through Missouri, Kansas, all that. And I was
Mhm.
like, well, I guess I'll just go up towards this way and go down towards Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And it takes me through Colorado. Um, so I'm back up a little bit. My son was a diehard Philadelphia Eagles fan,
Okay.
football.
Okay.
And I've been drawn to just how spirit works and just drawn to eagles, right? Like just eagles.
Mhm.
On my trip, I see it's on the back of big rigs. I see the word eagle. I see a picture of an eagle. I see a store called Eagle something. I mean, just eagle
Eagles everywhere.
everywhere. So that was cool. Well, I get to Colorado, going through the Rocky Mountains, like somewhere up in there, and I start seeing Eagle River. Eagle Corridor, Eagle Lake, Eagle, all these Eagle things. I'm like, holy cow! Just, it was an amazing, beautiful experience. Like,
Uh-huh.
I know my son's
You can
still,
feel it.
his spirit is still here.
Uh-huh. Mhm.
Absolutely. And I would do that trip 100 times to go through that
To
experience
have that
again.
yeah.
And yeah, and the next thing I know, I'm driving through Eagle, Colorado. Like, what are the odds out of all the cities in the United States, I drive through Eagle, Colorado? Like, come on.
It's
So,
a cool reassurance to have that, like, when you're trying to make sense of all this and I
yeah.
know that feeling when you're like, "There's no way," and that is you feel something, you feel a presence and
Mhm.
you feel it, and it's, like,
Yeah,
very
yeah.
comforting.
There was so much healing in that drive. I
Oh.
mean, I don't know if you've ever driven across the United States, but holy cow, it's far. It is
Yeah.
insane.
Yes,
So
yes.
I had a lot of time to listen to podcasts. I had a lot of time to think, a lot of
Ah.
time to cry, a lot of time to all the things. And that is why I went on that trip. So I could be brought through that area and just absolutely confirm that when people pass, their spirit's still with us. It really is. I mean, we transform to
Mhm,
a different being, you know?
mhm,
Our physical body is not here, but he is absolutely here, and I
uh-huh.
there's no denying that, you know? I talk to him every day. I say good morning to him, I say good night, and I tell him to give me a sign and, "Oh, here's another eagle," or, just whatever. And it was a pretty magical experience, I will say.
I'm so glad you took that time to do that, and, like, I think it's a, really, like, connected way because obviously you're grieving and you're trying to rebuild your life or kind of figure out life while
Mhm.
you're grieving, and it's beautiful that, like it sounds like you are taking steps so that you can take care of yourself while you're grieving,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is, so glad you took disability because honestly, when you're healing from anything, right,
Mm.
especially this, you need to take time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, I'm so incredibly sorry for your loss. I know that knowing and feeling his spirit is so reassuring
Mhm.
and so
Mhm.
wonderful. It's just as a mother, it's something that's, extremely difficult, and I know you're taking it day by day, and that's all you can do, right?
Yep.
And those confirmations and those moments, I have had so many of them that and as I get closer to God, I'm having more, and they're more like, "Whoa." I'm like, "Whoa, did that really just happen? Like,
Yeah.
there's no way. Wait, I just prayed about that 10
Mm.
minutes ago. Like, what?"
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's when
Exactly.
and I also wanna say thank you for sharing that you got to dark moments because as a parent, as a person, it's not always easy to share that you got to the end of your rope where you're like,
Mhm.
Maybe I don't really wanna fucking do this anymore."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've said that, and I remember the first time I said it on my podcast, I was like, "Oh my god, I just shared that." And I'm like, "Yeah, because it
Mhm.
happened, and I really almost did, and I really know that pain can feel so bad sometimes that you're just
Mhm.
like, "I can't bear this." But I don't know about you, when I've been in those moments, that's when I feel what I now know was God. I didn't
Yeah.
know at the time when I was sitting in this room being like, "Yeah, I'm done," after, like, the last narcissist thing.
Mm.
I was like then I felt it's not I didn't hear a voice. I didn't none of that. It was just this feeling of, like, knowing that it was not time and I could and I
Mm.
it's just that's when God, I feel like, touched me in some way, and then I began the journey back to, like, figuring out what that was.
Yeah. 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 And I know, I still life is a journey and we never come to the end. We just keep going. But being able to share my story and, I mean, this is only a snippet of 48 years, but being able to share my story, I know that it helps others because other people's stories have helped me,
Oh,
and tremendously. I mean, I could be watching a podcast and just a little piece, and it's like it
yep.
clicks for you or something,
The way
and
the way you
Mhm.
have said something, somebody listening is
Mhm.
going to be like, "Wait, what?" Or somebody who's struggling with
Mhm.
addiction or somebody who is struggling with whatever they're struggling with, like, we cannot the worst is when you literally are in your room
Mhm.
knowing, like, you feel like you're the only one in that moment, and it's
Yeah.
just not true, and I think
Mhm.
the more we are, like, very candid on these podcasts, the less shame there is around getting to a point where
Yeah.
you if you ever get to that point, you can be like, "Wait, that podcast ladies, both of them said that they got to that point, and wait,
Mhm.
maybe I can do that. I don't know
Yeah.
how the hell I'm gonna do it, but I heard even the most together people are brought to their knees by
Absolutely.
life.
Yep. Yep. Well, and I look at, I have 5 years sober, and 10 years ago, I would never have thought that was possible,
Just
right in the
wasn't
midst of it,
yeah.
and here I am 5 years. That's a long time. 5 years
Yes.
without a drink is a long time.
Yes.
When I had 1 year, it was like, "Okay, got a year, that's huge." But now I'm 5 years in, and healing is possible. Healing is it's achievable for anyone, and I know how hard it is. I know how what a struggle it was for years to because I didn't just one day wake up and go, I don't want to drink anymore. I was struggling trying to quit drinking and
Yes.
trying to cope with life
Uh-huh.
and yeah.
Mhm. The more vulnerable you are,
Mhm.
I feel that God sends the strength and sends the resources in some way. It doesn't
Mhm.
mean that everybody you want is gonna be, like, in alignment with you, but, like, God will be like, "Hey, I will send you enough strength and enough people." Doesn't
Yeah.
mean everyone's gonna everything you want's gonna happen, but I'll get you
Mhm.
through. Um, can I ask you how to like, are you, talking to a therapist today? What is your are you praying? What is your do you feel supported? Do you have an outlet, like, in this moment and for your grieving? Like, do you feel like you have how are you
Yeah. Um I've like I said, I've been off and on with therapy for years.
which is a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
Love
yeah.
therapy.
And I don't currently have, a therapist I'm talking
Yeah.
to,
Yeah.
but I have amazing friends that have stepped up and really been
Yes.
there, and being able to I meditate, just really getting to know like, spirituality is huge for me, and being able to, connect with nature really is a huge, huge part for me.
Ooh, yeah.
Being I'll go out and sit in my backyard, and I live kinda out in the country, and just sitting there and just soaking in the sounds of the birds and connecting to, this really I really got more connected when my son passed with being more spiritual, and looking
Oh, yeah.
for those
Yeah.
signs in nature, and holy cow, they are there. They are there, and we don't tune into it because we're so distracted by the noise of life and our cell phones and, just everything. Life is heavy, and we don't take the time to quiet the noise and
Yep.
listen to what nature and God is trying to tell us,
Mm. Mm.
you know?
Love sitting out in the backyard too. Literally that with a
Mhm,
cup of coffee, sitting out there, I it's a treasured part of my day whenever I can
mhm,
and it's not like if I get in a routine where I'm like, "Wow, I got it 3 mornings in a row, it's great," but, like, um, sitting out there, there's something about the birds, yeah,
mhm.
and they've done research that, like, our nervous systems are programmed to, like, when birds are chirping, that means, like, a predator isn't nearby, like, I'm like, "Oh, that makes sense, I've gotten rid of all the predators in my life,
Yes.
that's why the birds are birds didn't chirp for a few years there for both of us, did they?"
Yeah.
And,
Yep. You know
now,
what's crazy about that? Sorry to interrupt.
no, okay.
When I was with my recent ex, we had spiders. We had spiders around our house. When he moved out, the spiders didn't come. It was very strange. And because I tune into nature.
All the
Tune into the
things.
bugs and the everything. And
Yeah.
you know what? He always wanted to have a pest control. I don't know if he knew something. I don't know, but he the spiders don't come. I see one here and there, but not like they were before. And it's crazy because I do not like spiders.
No, and I am a huge believer in like, it's happened too many times, like, even literally the week after I went on this retreat where I basically, tried to, in my mind, forgive the narcissist up at this cross, and
Mhm.
I'm, like, bawling, and, everyone's like, you know, it was one of those where I was like, "Wow, I'll never forget this day in my life," in
Yes.
the best way. So the next couple days, I'm sitting at my computer right here, and I'm looking out the window, and this dove flies down,
Mhm.
and I'm like and then it flies down every day that week, and I'm like, "Are you?" I'm like, "No, I never." And then now, like, now doves are, like, part of and I'm like, "But there were no
Yeah.
doves before, and there was do" no. I'm like,
Yep.
"Okay, yeah, I'm a dove
Yep.
person now." Everyone's like, "Where are
Yeah.
your doves?" I'm
Yeah.
like, "Where?" Whereas before, I was like, "Oh, doves are cool," but now I'm like,
Mhm.
doves are my thing.
Yeah. I've really
Yeah.
dived into, like, um I mean, I'll be sitting outside and I'll see a hummingbird. I have a hummingbird friend that out back, and when you really look that stuff up and the spiritual meaning to seeing those things, we're so humanity is so disconnected from
God's, like,
nature.
trying to, like, knock you over.
Yeah, yeah, and I've always been drawn to, like, Native American,
Yes.
indigenous
Yes.
culture,
Yes.
and that's what they do. That's them. That's their culture is they're so connected to nature, and, maybe not so much these days, but going back ancient times, like, they were connected to nature, and so when I see a bird or a bug or I look it up like, "Okay, what's this mean?" You know?
Totally.
And the part with the eagle, with my son is, so my son wore glasses since he was, like, 3 years old, and he had really bad
Aw.
vision, and now he is able to soar, and he has eagle eye vision, so
This
I just
is
love that.
you
Yeah.
know what? Yep. And you know what? I He is free. He is, out of pain.
Yep.
I know
Yep.
life is very painful, and obviously that's not it's not something you plan for or want, but when you look at,
Mhm.
if you're a believer, which I am, I know that this is not the end, and, like,
Yeah.
energy cannot be created or destroyed, it can only be
Exactly.
transferred, right? Like, if you look at all the research and then you get if you don't believe in God and then you have these God moments and then
Mhm.
they keep happening again and again,
Yeah.
and then you read the science and then you put it all together and you go, "Holy shit, we're gonna see them again."
Yep. Yep.
We
Yep.
will, I know we will, and then
Mhm.
while we're here what I'm learning through talking to guests who have gone through tragedy and my own stuff, while we're here feeling the pain and the despair, they just talked about Psalms today in church and, like,
Mm.
the lamentations of pain, but
Yeah.
then we come together in community to, like, heal it and help bear it while we're down here.
Mhm.
Do you know what I
Mhm.
mean? 'Cause it's
Yeah.
like, all we can do is share it and then come together because, like,
Mhm.
where we're going is gonna be free from all of the pain.
Right.
It will
Yeah.
be,
Right. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's a beautiful image to think about and your son too, and I wanna make sure we talk about you have to tell me your favorite things about him. We
About
gotta
my
give
son?
Yes, we gotta give some
Yes.
core fun things about him to
Yes.
his memory.
So he diehard football fan, like I said,
Okay.
Philadelphia Eagles. He
Yep,
loves football.
yep,
He played football since he was 7 years old,
okay,
up until 10th grade.
okay.
And it's funny, he was so funny. I mean, he had jokes. He had jokes. He was so funny. And he was one of the most just kind he had the kindest heart. That's why I think my friend says that he took the 18-month course on Earth just because he had such a ginormous heart that he didn't fit in this world. This world is ugly, and he came here to accomplish his mission, and I believe that part of it is to help me heal and
Ah.
help me, um, discover, put myself first, and it's I mean, it's I could go way deeper into it, but, I always put everyone else first, and I was depleted, completely depleted, and I the last year that my son was alive, 4 of those months, he actually stayed with me.
Mhm.
He was very sick, but, I know God gave me that time
You
with
got that
him.
time with him.
Yeah, yeah, but it showed me during that time, you know, I need to put myself first, and even though my son, he was addicted. He showed me that I have to put myself first because I'm gonna drown. I'm gonna drown. But yeah, he was so protective over his siblings. He was the oldest, and he was such a good big brother. Him and my youngest son
Yeah.
probably shared the tightest bond.
Yeah.
And video games. They loved to play video games together when they were younger, and so helpful. He'd give you the shirt off his back, and that's the thing. That's what's a sad part of his story is living on the streets. He got taken advantage of, I'm sure, so
Yeah.
much because he was such a giving person, and he was very, very trusting. And in that world, in that life, you can't trust anybody.
Right.
And so anyhow, he was just such a sweet boy.
Yeah.
Such a sweet boy. Yeah.
Well, I know that you sharing those things about him and is just like a reminder too that like people who have passed, if we're asking for the signs, if we're looking for the
Mhm.
signs and looking for the connection, they're always there, you
Yeah.
know? But I think it's also beautiful that he's teaching you to pour into yourself
Yeah.
because especially if you're empathic, you'll run out, you'll just
Yes.
run out. And so it's
Mhm.
actually a beautiful thing because then you can end up loving on more people, and when your
Yeah.
strength is back and when you feel you can go do what you've been doing, which is
Mhm.
but you also need time to cocoon a bit and
Right.
take care of yourself after
Yeah.
this, you know?
Yeah. And I don't know if you know anything about or um you've heard of numerology. Um
Mhm.
so there's a big I'm kind of I don't even want to say new to it, but it just
Yeah.
has stumbled upon things and I'm
Huh?
like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
um there's a lot of things. 2025 is the year of completion in numerology. It's number 9. And I couldn't take that forward with me. My son it was his time. It was his time. And it's time for me to move forward, do some more healing, and tell my story. But
That
that
yes.
part he couldn't come with me because I would still be struggling and still
Ah,
trying to save him,
yes.
you know? So he definitely, I just see how everything worked together.
Mhm.
Even though it's absolutely just brutal losing a child, I also see the beauty in it too.
Mhm. Mhm. And I know that there's a community that is around you, not only, like you said, your friends and the people that love you, but you're
Mhm,
now part of a community. And I
mhm.
mean this wholeheartedly. Like I may say it with all seriousness that you're in the Adventures University family community. And I'm so like it makes me it's a family that I am honored and grateful to be creating of like
Mhm,
survivors of people who are not only surviving, but like want to tell their story because
mhm,
they know that they've been the one just wanting to hear someone say that they're not alone and then maybe some advice on how I can get through this thing that seems unbearable.
mhm.
And you're showing that every moment,
Yeah,
especially now by coming on this podcast. I thank you. And I know that a lot of people out there are going to be nodding their head and
yeah,
thinking about your story.
yeah, yeah. Well, I appreciate you, taking your time out of your day and
Cool.
talking with me and, being able
Well,
to.
and we can go on and on. I feel like I would love to just keep in touch and see how
Mhm,
your story evolves, and I know you're gonna give back to the community in
mhm.
ways you probably can't even see yet,
Yeah.
like, this whole new chapter for you is, like, gonna be an incredible rebirth, you know?
And I already see, I mean, I manifested this years ago.
Yes,
I've
look
talked
what you
about
are
I'm gonna
doing.
write a book about this someday, and I've already started writing a book, and,
Oh,
I mean,
good
it's
for
in the very
you.
beginning stages, but,
Oh,
I started writing and yeah,
that's how they all
yeah.
start. Well, how about this? You need to
Mhm.
come back on when you have something to show me, which could be any part like, you could come on partway through the journey, or you can come on when it's published.
Mhm.
You just
Yeah,
message me and because, again, you're in the family now.
yeah. Well, I think that's great because, even coming halfway through on me writing a book is encourages others to start their book, you know?
It's a
Um,
beautiful thing.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. Absolutely, and I just I know my journey doesn't stop here. I've got more to tell, more to share, more to share to help others through
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
what they're going through. Yeah,
yes.
absolutely.
Well, I wanna thank you, Amber, so much, and, I'll put your information in the show notes, and I know that there's gonna be a lot of our guests we form a community where I
Mhm,
start to see that other guests are following new guests, and then I'm like, I'm gonna do
mhm.
a panel with 2 of my guests that have now connected. It's like
I love it.
all these things
Yeah.
because we all have common experiences, and so
Mhm.
I can't wait to see how we can collaborate again in the future just to keep, like, building community.
For
So,
sure.
yeah,
Absolutely. I love it.
amazing. Well, I hear
Yeah.
your little doggy's ready to go out.
Yeah,
I can
she's
hear him, he's like,
tiptoeing.
"Mom, I gotta pee, please."
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Amber, and we will talk soon.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you again.
Alright, take
Have a
care.
good one.
Bye-bye.